So when you're doing siding in Olathe, the nice thing is you're normally dealing with homes that are a little bit newer. So you're not dealing with homes built in the 1940s, 1950s. And so a big thing in Olathe happens all the time where you have different layers. The wall is actually not flat. And so the builder wanted to save $1,200, and so he didn't put the same level of sheathing on your house, basically the wood behind it. And so it's very common I'll talk to homeowners and tell them, hey, we're gonna have to spend a couple $1,000s making your walls level. And they're like, what do you mean? The other guy didn't mention that. And I walk them outside and I have them touch their walls and feel them. I'm like, your walls are literally inches apart. You can't just put new left siding over this. And you really shouldn't even put new panel. And so that's one of the biggest things in Olathe is a lot of builders cut so many corners that the walls aren't level. And that's where they have a lot of water issues and management problems because they're just kind of dumping on top of each other. Another big thing you see in Olathe is really just the roof lines they use. So a lot of times the builders used a 2-inch basically fascia. It's what kind of sits behind the gutter or goes up in like the triangle peaks. And a lot of times the roofing nails are nailed over that and the roofing drip edge. And you can't remove that. If you remove it, you could really damage your roof. And I've seen some contractors rip it off and cause some issues. And so I like to just educate homeowners on what their options are, how do we treat those areas. Another big thing is just curb appeal. And so most people in Olathe, yes, they have woodpeckers, you have woodpecker issues, you have some wood rot they gotta fix, but a lot of them are just old Johnson County houses built in the late 80s, early 90s. It's a lot of beige, a lot of brown, and homeowners can't wait to change that. And so a big thing in Olathe with people is just updated curb appeal, making it look more modern. And I don't mean modern as in like crazy, fancy panel, but really just make it look like it was kind of built in the last 15 years. And so we see that every day with homeowners in Olathe. Yeah, I mean, really in South Johnson County, so it doesn't matter if it's Olathe over in Parkland next. You see so much board and batten, so much panel and channels. And I do some of that, but I will tell you, if I get 100 phone calls, 95 of them want nothing to do with the panel and the battens. It's okay if you're one of the 5. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just not what we see today. So the big thing we see today is homeowners want a more modern look, and they also want a product that sheds water better. And so the board and batten does a terrible job of deflecting water. It kind of hits and runs behind and it causes a bunch of wood rot. And so most homeowners are thinking about low maintenance, longevity, durability, but they also want to look great. And so most homeowners want a more modern look, and that's why they're going with the lap siding. You know, it's interesting because during the pandemic, I think a lot of people sat at home and they spent time in their backyard and they spent time going on walks, and you kind of start to realize sometimes your house doesn't look great, or sometimes your neighbor's house doesn't. And that's okay, by the way. You maybe use some money inside or do some more stuff, but there's been a large swath of people who have said, I never noticed how much I don't like the way my house looks. Or my neighbor did their house. I never realized what my house could look like. That's another big one. I just never knew what it could look like. And so it's very common in Olathe to see people nowadays walk around saying, wow, one of my neighbors did, brand new James Hardy siding on my street. It looks amazing, it looks fantastic. It looks so much different than the other houses that have channel of the board and batten look. And so it's very common nowadays during the pandemic for people to really notice more curb appeal and want curb appeal on their houses. And that wasn't necessarily the case for everyone 5-6 years ago.